And now the next part is this, the soil. Now the soil will basically just go in around here. Now let's see if I can zoom that in. So the soil will just go in around the rocks. Like this. As you can see, it rooms the brush, hence why I tend to use a small brush, but B, a brush that I've just mixed paints with, so I'm not really too fussed. Now there's a lot of soil aspects here mingled with small rocks, so I've got to be a little bit careful that I don't end up painting these small rocks and losing the effect that I wanted. So I'll just do another couple of minutes of this here. I could do with a bit of a bushier brush. Okay, let's swap over for a bushier brush. There we go. It actually holds a bit more of the pigments. Right. So this is a blend of soil mix here that I made up myself. Tells you what to do in the box, Dave. I know, just want to sound professional. Okay. There we go. You getting that, guys? That these upper sections are going to be affected by snow, and that's actually my intention, to get some snow up there to hide the joins. That, John McConnell, if you're listening, sir, is why I like snow, because I can hide behind it. Again, just up there, I'm going to cover all of this with snow, in fact, around there to hide those aspects, but I just want to get this covered up a little bit. Oh, and tear off some paint while I'm at it, because we have this to go on top, and I don't want to have anything really, how do I say, there we go, something like that. It's offset as well a bit, so that's good. Okay, so cracking on, I've covered these with some soil effects. I've actually had to go back and redo some of the highlighting, because when I judged it to the last piece, I realised that the last one was just a tad brighter. So I had to pull out, what one was it? Althyon Grey, GW. So I pulled that one out, and we just highlighted these just a tiny bit more, just to make them fit in with the other one. So I'm going to just crack on here by putting on this soil effect, and next time I come back I'll be putting on the sealer, and that'll be that for this then. Sorry, when I say that'll be that for this, I'll have to put these a while, whilst I watch them dry. Shout out again to Mel from Train Shooter for his little fantastic video on drying and setting up your own little business, the problems for it. Now, I have plenty of storage here, and I could dry plenty of things, but I haven't set the business up yet, so I've still got only a few projects, maybe I think 7 projects on the go, and I just want to not go head first into it like I do a lot of things, and make sure that I get it right. And when I do take on other commissions, and the one that I have next year, the big one I have next year, I want to ensure that I'll be able to give a very good service and try and get up to the levels of some of the main terrain guys out there presently. So 2 shouts out there to Mel from Terrain Shooters and to Terrainscapes. Take a lot of inspiration from himself. Very, very awesome pieces. Not very good, awesome pieces. So look, I'll just crack on, maybe a tiny bit of music. We'll speed this up. Mostly because I was very, very unhappy when I reviewed the first video. I watched it as I was uploading it, and I pressed the publish button, and I was kind of a bit disappointed because it did. Even though it was only like 16 minutes long, it seemed like it dragged on to eternity, and that's not what this is all about, because you'll end up being asleep, guys, and not getting the answers to some of the questions you may have. Now, before I leave you, I'm just putting in this soil effect into anywhere that I think soil may have gathered throughout time, even on top of some of the rocks itself, just to blend in with some of the rock falls. How realistic is that? Well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so I'll leave you there. Okay, guys, as you can see, that was just a quick little job there. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting on some Soilworks Terrain Fixer, and I have been using a syringe, which has been great, but it kind of clogs the syringe up a little bit and makes it a bit tougher to push it through. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use the brush effect. So let's grab some of my manky old brushes, and basically a lot of this is going to be capillary action, and that's such a manky old brush, I don't even think it can, its bristles won't even open, but it will pick up enough just so I can dab this stuff in on the pigments. I don't have to paint it on, just dabbing it on. Whoa, where did that come from? Have I created something? Looks a bit slimy. Could have been... Ah, yes. Now he knows. I actually cleaned out this container with some... Oh, with some foaming airbrush cleaner. Okay, and so what I've done is I'm now actually creating a new kind of a gooey mess in here. I think I can pull most of this out. Yeah, that's not appealing, but I don't want that on my terrain either. Now, here's something. You'll notice that the liquid is getting very discolored slowly by all of the dust that hasn't actually... well, the pigments don't actually adhere as such. They kind of hang on. What a statement. So they don't... You could blow some of them off, and some of them will be like chalk hanging on to any aspects of the terrain that they feel they can blend to. So that's why we put on this sealer. Now I'm going to crack on very quickly with this, so I'll speak to you all soon. Otherwise I'll keep you rambling, watching me doing a laborious job, which I hope if anyone out there can give me any comments on how to improve this. I do think I might have to go back to the syringe job. Actually, let's just try the syringe here. One-handed syringe. Right, and let's see if we can... There we go. So that makes it a little bit quicker. So we'll crack on with this, guys, and I'll speak to you in a minute. Okay guys, so I know everyone's eager to see the snow go on, but I've got to highlight up this this dirt, and really it's just putting small dabs of the mixture, kind of like back on with a lighter tone. It just helps it stand out in the finished product a bit more. But as you can see, it's not something that needs as much work. It's really just dabbing areas. So I'll crack on with this, and I'll get back to you when I'm finished. I do hope the camera's been able to pick out these points as I'm doing it. So catch you soon. We'll try and make this vid as good and as quick as possible. Okay, cheers guys. Okay, so my lack of knowledge of pigments, because I've only started using relatively recently, I'm trying different techniques to see which works best. And what I've done is I'm just finishing off these now that the other two are done. I've highlighted them once, the pigments, and now I'm re-highlighting them again with a lighter pigment. But when I do this, the first one was dabbed, the second one now, highlight, I'm actually coming in and rubbing it to kind of like blend it in, but also to make it more permanent, because obviously just by dabbing it, it only just puts on some dust particles, which again will adhere but can easily be blown away. So this rubbing kind of solidifies it a little bit. Now it is looking quite brightish, and hence this is where my lack of knowledge of pigment needs to be explained. I'm desperately trying to get it to look natural but without comical, and this moment in time it's a bit of both. I don't know, I've got a lot of learning to do with pigments, but it'll do fine. So these now are ready. All three of them are ready for the snow. I've got a sample that I've done in another little video, which I'll come back to, and I need to sample, see how the snow is working out, because I'm having a few little issues that I want to be able to readdress. So I'll in the meantime, while that's drying, and that's, as I said, another little video, I'm going to just start painting this up with the browns and get this ready and see how it kind of stands out. Obviously, when I start putting on the snow, I won't have this finished, but it'll be the last piece of the set to do. Okay, so I'll speak to you guys in a minute. Hello guys. Okay, I have jumped ahead, and I'm now ready to start doing some of the snow effects. I've had some very, very interesting results excuse me, regarding both the hobby round and the Army Painter Battlefield Snow. The result is the hobby round has left me with the only thing I can think of is that both the PVA and the water melts the hobby ground, and it gives a fantastic but surprising ice effect. Let me just lean over here and grab this piece. So this is me trying to finish it off. What I was left with, and I do apologize for jumping ahead too quickly, you might just be able to see here on this part just there, see where it's very kind of icy. Okay, that is what was left after my experiment. And up here, and what I've been forced to do, someone put my arms behind my back, is to mix up a new batch, but to add some white paint. Now, I don't know what the result of this is going to be. It's looking brilliant at this moment in time. I'm very, very happy with the dual effects that I'm getting, both a snowy cap and then an icy underneath. But this is all experimentation. Again, if it all goes Pete Tong, I can always come back and rectify it with a new layer. So I'm not too worried about this. The results at the moment look great, but then this is still wet and in the process of drying. So I'll put this aside now, and we'll get stuck onto this, the main piece. Now, as I said, I have jumped ahead, and in this meantime, I've actually been doing up the wooden board effect here, and the start of the statue. I need to go away and get some proper bronze and get this area bronzed up around the statue. Thought process is, do I have it broken off and down here, in which case I'll have to remove the base and have it all broken, or do I leave it up there like that? If I do so, then the piece becomes unplayable. If I have it down here with the base broken off, then the piece becomes very playable, because the distance between the rungs in the ladder equate to the distance between the feet, but not the base, obviously, and it makes the model playable. Either way, whatever I decide to do, I will intend to use PVA to attach this to the base, so that at a later point, if I change my mind, I can take it off, and with a bit of repair or a mock-up job, I can actually redo it again. So that's where I'm at with this piece. So it's all looking very, very nice, even if I say so myself. So getting back to the main task at hand, we're going to place some snow on the main base here. And what I'm going to do is, I haven't actually attached the building. I just want to make sure it's seated in the right spot, so that when I place the snow around it, I don't have too much of an overlap here with the building, because there's no way it would actually be built like that, where the piece is edging over the edge of the cliff face. So that looks okay. So what I'll do now is I'll just crack on, and I'll start adding snow in around this. Again, the PVA, the intention is the PVA is going to hold my piece in place, and really what I'm trying to do with the PVA is just fill up any gaps where the model isn't lying flush to my scenic top. I will come back and start putting the snow up on top of the building, and working on the gates as well. So we'll get some snow in here specifically, because that's a nice sharp edge, and I want to cover that up. Snow will gather in around here in the little gullies as well. This gully, which I've actually created and put some soil effects in, I'll start covering a bit of that up. And now the technique I'm going to do is I'm going to just brush the snow on like that, and then put large amounts of snow down here, indicating that the steepness wouldn't be able to hold the snow in question, and the snow would obviously go over the edge like so. So again, I'm using copious amounts. Oh, I do apologize, I suddenly realized you can't actually see that part, and I'm actually working at a bit of an angle myself. So now I have some of my decorator's caulk up here, so I'm just going to cover that with some snow. And the way I'm actually painting the snow on, is an indication that the snow might well be building up here on this side of the building, and that would be hopefully brought across the rest of the piece. So I'll have a lot of build-up of snow on this side, like so, but I'll have perhaps just splattering here, especially around the steps, because around the steps, though I want large patches, I also want to negate the use of the negate the. Oh, I'm getting all caught up in the English language. I want to prevent overly snowing the steps, lest it inhibits the movement of the models. Again, all of these steps have been made specifically, whoa, except for that one, to take the models within the game, so that you don't have, as you saw there, models falling off like so. But there is enough place in the step, and over on the side as well. Although that would be classed as difficult or terrain, dangerous terrain in fact, where they can't stand. So anywhere where they can't actually stand, I've tried to make sure that it's not possible. Losing bases and everything. I hope you're getting this. Yep. Okay, so again, going around the building, because my primary target is to keep the building in place, but to build up the snow around the building, to give the impression of where the wind is going to hit it, and where the snow will well gather, because the snow, strange as it seems, looks for sheltered areas, because that protects it from the sun in a sense. It sounds like an entity, but I suppose snow is. And in this this video that I've been doing, it's becoming an entity for me, because I'm learning so much about it. The one thing I need to be careful of, which is what I'm actually doing right now, is I'm actually trying to use up the snow I have and make it bulky, but at the same time not use everything up, because otherwise I'll have to redo a new batch. And this batch is a strange batch. From the bits and pieces I've been learning about the snow effects, I've made up a batch of white paint and the hobby ground, as well as the army painter. So I have a complete mix match of all two products to try them out, to see how it works out. As I showed you previously earlier in this part, the results that I got were fantastic, but it's taking like two and a half days to work through that, and I don't particularly want to spend that much time just on the snow on a model, because it's not efficient. I want to try and get a mix, or I want to get my experimentation done and dusted in this project to be able to transfer this on if and when I start doing commission work and a client asks me to do snow. So that's the okay, now you see that's okay. What I'm going to do now is, if the snow is coming in from that side, there will be some snow in here, and I can use this to hold the model in place, like so. Again, ensuring that it fits flush. Okay. No. Yes. And yes. So I want to get snow inside the building as well, and for me that's important, because it does have a number of access doorways, and I believe that they would be they would allow snow to gather up inside. It also makes, in my opinion, the model seem bleaker, if you can understand that. It's just kind of like, you know, it's uninhabited except for the spirits of the dead, which is why I've tied this piece in. This has been destroyed. It was a symbol of the Arnorians, and it was destroyed, but these areas weren't destroyed because they held the spirits, and possibly could have been where the likes of, obviously, spectres and barrow-wights and shades themselves could well have come from, within the context of the Hobbit, of course. Now some sharp edges down here. It's going to drip, so I'm going to have to make a decision quickly. That sharp edge down there will work for me. This one will build up. So here we go. Now I'm going to crack on with this. I'm not going to hold it too much, but what I will show you is the gates. Now I'll get a bit of snow in here, just on the tops where it would have gathered, just on the side, and then more down here where it obviously would have fallen. Oh, well, sorry, my off screen. There you go. Just in case you missed that, what I'll do is I'll do it on another gate around here. Okay, can you see that gate? So my intention is just a small bit there, small bit on the top, and then it would have fallen down into these parts and definitely down onto the base like so. And so I can just build that up, dropping snow everywhere. So I can just build that up. And that's what I'd be doing with the gates. So I'm going to hold it there, guys, and I will get back to you after I've finished all of the snow on this to give you a better look-see. Okay, cheers. Hello guys, and right, so this is aesthetically finished. I want to finish up this video soon, so I've just done the first layer of snow. Now obviously when this dries, because as PVA does, it dries clear, and the results will not necessarily look like this, but I will come back with a photograph later to show what the end result is, but that'll take at least a day or so, because it may need a second and possibly third layer. But the idea I had is that in this case there's such a large footprint for the there's such a large footprint for the model. I didn't want to cover it with too much snow, so I gave splatterings of where I thought the snow would gather, especially around the building, because that's the most important visual point here. So snow cascades down, comes down, gets melted, turns a bit icy, and then hangs down, but does not hang down like this. That needs to be just dragged down and spread out a little bit, to indicate that the snow build-up here isn't just turning to ice straight away. It needs to just come down. And there we go, exposing the rock underneath. That's a little bit better. And then just round it off in some cases and spread it out in others. Okay, so spread that back out, and immediately I'm picking up some of the old soil works, because I've wet it, and yeah, so I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. Around the foot here, I just want to make sure that the models will still have full access. I put a lip in here because I wanted the model not to fall off the edge, but to have something to hold on to. So I put a lip of snow just in here, and I need to push this one back in a bit, maybe spread it out a bit more onto that. Add a little bit of water so I'll get a more icy effect. Now, as I said, this is not the finished product, but this is basically what it oh, let's zoom out, that's better. This is basically the way I'm going to finish it at this moment in time. A couple of tweaks. Now I have to give credit and inspiration, as I said, to this piece to Byron from Northwest Gaming Centre, because when I saw his version, he uses similar. In fact, he's a much better painter, much better scenery maker than I am. But I tried to take inspiration from what he had done. I built mine a little bit higher than he has. I'll throw a photograph of his onto here as well, to show his work. But I just took inspiration, and then I decided let's go Angmar. So this is basically where it all started from. So thank you very much, Byron. Let's just get a little bit of more snow on the peaks here and around the top, just more of a wet splattering to indicate the direction that the wind is coming from in this case, because I've had the wind coming predominantly from this side. So you can see the build up of snow, and then a little less around the sides. But so yeah, I hope you've liked this. I'm going to crack on very quickly now and do this, and the next time you see all of these, we should have the whole lot on the table and a quick run through of the Angmar board. And the final piece is done. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I'm hoping you can, otherwise all of these videos are rubbish. So basically what I've done is I've dotted this with snow. There's a few bits and pieces of painting that need to be finished off on this, but at the moment in time, I think what we'll do is we'll take all of this upstairs and we'll look at the whole board as a whole. And yeah, okay, thanks for watching the video. I'll leave you with a few little musical strips as we go over all the pieces, and hopefully some photographs as well. Okay, one last thing. This hobby round is actually Gale Force. Oh my goodness me. And thank you to Mel from Terraniacs and Terrain Tutor for using it in one of his videos, and then suddenly I realized what it is. Most noticeably because he mentioned that they overfill their containers. But this is actually Gale Force snow. So yeah, credit to them, and credit to Army Builder Snow. This, in fact, I've just found out, is predominantly used to make ice, from what I can gather, so my bad. Learning curve all the way around. Well, we'll see how these dry out. Anyway, as I stated earlier, the end product is not going to look like this, because these have yet to dry, but it'll be interesting to see. Okay, speak to you all soon. Bye for now.